Hey guys, we are back at it with a Freestyle Friday workout. So Melissa is going to be demoing today, and we're going to start with a warm-up. So we're going to be doing a 3D glute exercise. So it's going to consist of a step up in two different directions. So starting on the box, you're going to step off laterally into a curtsy, into a lateral step up, into a reverse lunge. Regular step up, and then repeat the pattern. So lateral step up, regular, reverse, repeat. So you can use a box, chair, stairs, whatever you have access to. So 5 on each leg for that exercise. So bear crawl squares are next. So just off the ground with the knees, 2 steps forward, 2 to the side, 2 reverse, and then back to the start. So you would go around twice in that direction and then repeat in the opposite direction. And just slow and controlled, getting the core, the shoulders, a little bit of everything turned on. So we're going to do a rotational exercise next. So if you happen to have a light band, you're going to tie it around your hip height. So you're going to put it in your palm, and basically you're going to do a step and punch, doing a little rotational motion, and then reset. So the band's going to pull you back, so you just want to try to resist that motion. So if you do not have a light band, you can do a discus throw with a weight. Load the hip, throw to the opposite hand. But notice how her opposite leg is rotating as she is turning upwards. Very nice. So those would be 10 aside for whatever you choose to use. So for our workout, we're going to do a buns and guns and possibly a little bit of cardio if you are interested in keeping the hurricane format. Otherwise, you can just do the circuits without the cardio if you want to just get a lift in. So our first exercise is a hip thrust or a hip lift. So if you have a bench, that's the easiest to utilize. Get your upper back on the bench. She's just adding a dumbbell to make it a little bit more challenging. Dip and drive. See how she's keeping the chin nice and tucked. So you can put your back on a couch, a chair, a stability ball. So if you have the super bands, you can put them around your heels or up around the lap, and that's just adding tension through the movement. So you can do a combination of band and a weight. If you happen to have a bar set, you could do a bar around the lap as well. So if you don't have a height that works for the hip thrust, you can do the same thing in a hip bridge. Just still trying to load up the glutes, dip and drive. Very nice. The final option, you can just show these on the ground. So you could do either one of those one-legged if you don't have a way to add enough resistance, because doing these one legs are significantly more challenging. And body weight should suffice for on the ground or on the bench. So that's one. Second one is curl of choice for the biceps. So you could do a banded curl. So band's a little bit more hammer style. You could do good old-fashioned 2 dumbbells. So hammer, you can do palms up, regular. If you have a bar or an easy bar. Or you can get creative, milk jugs, beer cans, Tito's bottles, whatever you got lying around, backpacks, but something to work the curl motion. And finally, we're going to work the chest, tri, shoulders for either an X push-up or a diamond push-up. So an X push-up is crossing your arms like so and trying to push up from that position. Oh, there you go. So you can simply modify by dropping to the knees for those. And that allows you to distribute the weight a little easier. Or you could elevate yourself onto a bench, which allows you to still work that plank position. The other option, might as well just show it right there to start, is a diamond push-up. Get your hands in that diamond position, working strictly the triceps. So again, moving to the ground would be a little bit more challenging. Or you can always modify on the knees on the ground as well. So you have your hip thrust, curl, and then either X push-up or diamond push-up. So how it's going to work is you'll do 8 of each of those, and then 12 of each of those, and then 16, and then 20. So if you would like to keep the hurricane concept, after you would do the push-ups, you would throw in a 400-meter run or row. I listed the chart on the Google Docs. You could do 75 seconds on a bike, 140 mountain climbers, 160 jump ropes, or a 120-yard carry or equivalent walking around for just over a minute. So any of those options can be done, and those are always going to stay the same. So you would do the round of 8, your distance, do the round of 12, your distance, round of 16, your distance, and then the round of 20 in your distance. Like I said, if you do not want to do the cardio, you just don't include it. So our finisher, depending on your time, you can do anywhere from 2 to 4 rounds. So we're going to work skull crushers. So the simplest way would be doing these is with dumbbells. You can either use 1 or 2. So she's going to hold 20 seconds just at 90 degrees. And after she would get to that 20 count, she would rep out 8 to 12 reps. So the goal is trying to hit 12, a minimum of 8. So if you're barely getting 8, the weight was probably pretty challenging, which is good. If you're getting 12 pretty easily, you could try to increase the weight on the next set. So you could do 2 individual dumbbells with that. You can use a plate, really whatever you got access to. Very nice. And you can do the same thing on the floor as well. So for the curl, so any of those curl options that we did earlier, you've got a kettlebell or anything like that, you want to mix it up, but you're going to hold 20 seconds and then proceed to go 8 to 12 reps immediately after. So again, if you're hitting 12 pretty easily, you could try to increase it. If you're barely getting 8, it was probably a good weight. And then similar to the push-ups that we were just doing, we're going to do an up-down plank. So on your elbows, just going elbow to lockout, in an alternating fashion. And again, you can modify from the knees or the bench to make those easier. So those are 10 in total, and then when you finish, you would go around again. So you can do up to 2 sets or up to 4 sets, depending on what you got time for. And that is our Freestyle Friday workout. Have fun, work hard.